I actually think he is a good big match player, as he's shown over the years, and he plays some tight matches well. When he won the 2005 Australian Open, he saved a match point against the nearly perfect Roger Federer. Lleyton Hewitt, another guy that's mentally incredibly tough, 26 years old now, currently 21 in the world, very close in the rankings, these two, and he was also #1.
There is Beck, Lleyton's wife, Beck Hewitt, bundled up against the cool air. Nice evening for tennis.
Well, you can see the depth of Safin's shot, and it doesn't look as though he's doing that much with the ball, but his ball just flies off his racket, and it backs you up, and you saw it backing up Lleyton Hewitt there. You've really got to be ready from the outset for a bigger ball than you're likely to see at any other time.
Well, Hewitt served well against Lopez. Quite a few aces. Well, the net code can either be your friend or your foe, and this time for Hewitt it turned out to be his friend. When it pops up, it gives you some time.
Yeah, strange return to serve from Safin just because it was a second serve and he's very off balance. It's almost as if he didn't expect that ball to kick. That's just a sick return. And I like the way Hewitt, after that return blows by him, sneaks a peek at Safin with a look of like, come on, are you kidding? But those are the kind of shots Safin can come up with.
Well, Safin scrambling, and a fortunate drop for the Russian at a break. Panasonic presents the Tennis Channel Open is brought to you in part by Mirage Las Vegas, the official hotel and casino for Tennis Channel Open. By American Airlines, we know why you fly. We're American Airlines. By Icy Hot Sleeve, gets icy to dull the pain, then hot to relax it away. And by Panasonic, ideas for life. No, right in the heart of the Mojave Desert, Las Vegas, Nevada. We're actually in Summerlin, which is just a few miles from the Strip. Safin has a break of serve and a 1-love lead.
That's huge hitting from Safin and great scrambling ability from Hewitt. Exactly what you were hoping to see in this match. And that's the shot, this miss coming up from Safin. If he could ever get to be a very good volleyer, he's just an average volleyer at best. If he could ever get that part of his game a little better, then there really would be no holes other than mental.
First ace of the evening for Safin.
I actually don't think Safin was hitting the bowl all that well. You see the head-to-head, Safin leads 6-5, and the last meeting was a big one for a Grand Slam title in Leighton Hewitt's home country, and it's Safin who wins in 4.
No, not much Hewitt can do on that ace out wide.
But what I was starting to say is I think Safin was not playing all that well here the first couple of rounds and in the round robin. And then he played Igor Kunitsyn, and they played for 3 hours. And he made a boatload of unforced errors in that match, but as the match wore on, he started to get a rhythm. They had a lot of long rallies, and I think since then, he's got his feel.
And I'll define boatload for you. In that match, it was 81 unforced errors.
That is a boatload.
That's a boatload, but as you said, though, since then, he's been very stingy with the unforced.
And even by the end of that match, he was playing pretty well. He'd had enough practice. They went forehand to forehand for hours, it seemed.
Deuce. Now, this is the first meeting between these two in an event other than a Grand Slam, a Davis Cup, a Masters Series event. So these guys are used to playing big matches against one another. He has one of the best two-handers in the game.
What's remarkable about the two-hander to me is that it doesn't look like he's trying to hit it hard, and the ball explodes off his racket. That was a winner where Leighton Hewitt, as quick as he is, just watched it go by.
Advantage Hewitt. Sir.
Well, the forehand let him down in that game. 4 errors off that forehand wing, and we're back on even serve. Let's take a look at the Franklin Templeton gaining perspective. Jimmy, it's counter-puncher versus puncher out here today.
Well, it's so far 1-all for the counter-puncher matchup. As the first game, too many winners from the puncher, and the second game, enough balls got back in play by the counter-puncher to elicit some unforced errors.
Love 15.
Is that a triple fault? Because he foot faulted and missed it anyway.
Geico match set, and that's the start of a boatload, perhaps. Steve Ulrich is our chair umpire, nodding confirmation that that ball was in fact long. No challenge for Safin. Remember, both players have 2 challenges, a third if we reach a tie break.
Good job from Hewitt there, because it's always a little bit uncomfortable when you get a first serve in and your next shot is leaning backwards half volley as the return is just pummeled. And Hewitt didn't panic. Controlled it well, stayed in the point. Huge hitting from Safin, but Hewitt just too good. Running down balls, staying on balance. And eventually, Safin wants to hit it too hard.
You know, Hewitt is so good at absorbing pressure and pace. Well, Safin had actually come halfway up the court, so that was why he was able to reach that ball. It looked like he may have touched the net, so Hewitt, 2-1, we're back on serve. The Darling Tennis Center, Las Vegas, Nevada. Men's semifinals, and we're on serve. Hewitt, 2-1 lead. And there is Leighton's wife, Beck, supporting her man.
Wants to get that shot back, as he was perfectly set up for the pass. He knew exactly where Safin was going with the forehand. Normally he'd at least test the Safin volley.
Heavy first serve from Safin. Safin changing the line of attack and losing it in the alley. Hewitt just repeats the question every point, always forcing her to hit more than one ball. So Safin gets to 2 games all. Of course, Leighton Hewitt came through the round robin portion of this event, took out Vince Spadia and Tommy Johansson before beating Lopez. He played in 2 other round-robin format events in Adelaide and in Rotterdam, and he failed to reach the quarterfinals in both of those. So he's making some progress in this format.
Scrambling, but Safin knows he's going to be able to get a volley. Comes running in. Swing's a little too big for me on volleys. It's funny, it's Hewitt. We always talk about him as a counterpuncher, but he's gained a little bit of sting on his shots in the last couple of years. Now, he hasn't done as well, but he seems to be serving with a little more miles per hour behind it and occasionally hitting some clean winners.
So Safin also coming through the round-robin phase before the quarterfinals. Stefan Kubek.
That was on the super windy Tuesday. That was a tough match. Kunitsin, that's the match where I think he started to get some feel by the end of that match. And the great win against Verdasco.
Well, when you see Safin play points like that, you realize that he's a guy who really is a legitimate top tenor, and I know you said he feels that he is anyways, even if he is ranked 24.
Well, when he won when he reached the finals of the Australian Open in 2004, he was ranked 100 in the world, but he came in and he knows I'm one of the best players when I'm playing well. And
this is really an important year for Leighton Hewitt in many ways. Of course, in Adelaide at the start of this year, he had a fairly unpleasant breakup with his coach, Roger Rashid. Struggled to play well. Lost early at the Australian Open to Gonzalez. And his ranking,
make the finals.
Yeah, his ranking is slipped outside the top 20 now. Did you feel that there is a little bit of urgency about his time on court now, that these are important moments for him to regain some of that swagger?
Yeah, even just these next few weeks, Indian Wells, Key Biscayne coming up the next couple of tournaments on a surface he likes, and it's a chance for him really to establish himself again.
Yeah, that's a nice service game right in the center of the opening set. Exciting week of action here at Tennis Channel Open. The Bryan Brothers brand helped kick off the week at the Players Party. Mike Bryan on drums, Bob on piano, and how about some Hollywood icons here in Las Vegas? And there's an icon, the man himself, Andre Agassi. Clint Holmes sang the national anthem. Well, this is Tim Henman astride his mount at Excelsior. That's Murphy Jensen. And we lost our booth to a couple of amateurs, Murphy Jensen and Paul Goldstein. Kids Day, always a big feature. And again, Elvis making an impression out here on the courts.
That was only the first day.
It's been busy out here this week. I knew things had gotten dangerous in the booth when Murphy had taken over, and he said, "Leaf, can you get me a coffee?" It was trouble. I knew things.
And you went.
Bad things were happening.
It always amazes me when I watch Murat Safin because his ball seems to have such little margin for error because he hits it so hard and there's not that much spin on it. He's got to just clear the net and then it lands so deep in the court. And there was an example, a pretty well hit forehand clean, but it just caught the top of the tape because he doesn't have that margin for error that most players have.
Well, that's a rare collector's item right there. An unforced error in the rally from Leighton Hewitt.
On a pretty big point.
Yeah, 15-30. 30 all. Easy motion. Can generate a fair amount of pace. Is his serve talked about as one of the best in the game, or could it be better, do you think? It seems like he's always served pretty well.
It's a very good serve, but I don't know if it's not quite up there in the echelon of Ivo Karlovic and Andy Roddick and a couple of the guys that are throwing in some 135, 140-ish.
Beautiful two-hander down the line. Safin's trademark play. 3 games all. Leighton Hewitt told us what it's like to play Murat Safin, what he expects in today's matchup.
Yeah, I expect a grind match against Murat. He's got a lot of firepower out there, and I've got to try and dampen it somehow. But yeah, he's a great player. He's a good bloke, and we've had a lot of tough matches over the years, and in some big situations, in big finals of tournaments and semi-finals. So yeah, I look forward for the challenge tomorrow night again.
Yeah, he is one who accepts the challenge, doesn't he?
Especially against good blokes.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he's been accepting that sort of challenge. When he was a junior, he always had to play up in age divisions. He was always the smallest guy out there, so he's always, having to look up and take on challenges like that. I think in much the same way Michael Chang did.
Yeah, there's no backing down with Leighton Hewitt. He is going to fight and grind to the end, and he's got some weapons. Chang was almost exclusively a counterpuncher, whereas Hewitt now, the new kind of counterpuncher, he's still going to hit some winners if you give him anything that's a short ball.
We talked a little bit about Hewitt's serve. He's finished with over 500 aces for the year on a number of occasions, so he's finished inside the top 10 in aces.
I think his second serve has started to get shaky personally, but it hasn't really shown up here, and this is a tough place to serve. That's the pattern, by the way, that Hewitt wants to look for more often, and that is getting some cross-court forehand rallies. Safin misses when he changes direction on that type of rally, but doesn't miss the two-hander when he changes it down the line.
couldn't tell. It's glary from here. I can't tell. I can't tell it's glary. It's right in the sun. I can't see it.
Steve Ulrich avoiding the question, and he's going to challenge. And the crowd likes the idea of it.
It's kind of funny that Steve Ulrich said he can't see the glare of the sun. I'm not seeing much sun out there. Ooh, and it's just out.
So Safin, instead of the ace for Hewitt, he'll look at a second serve.
This is kind of unfair from the standpoint of I thought the rule is you've got to try to challenge it immediately. That was a long break in between first and second serve. But Hewitt doesn't complain. Safin takes advantage. I think I would have been lobbying for a first serve.
Good luck with that.
Or saying he didn't challenge right away. What's the rule?
Well, I think you can walk forward, look at the mark, and make an idea of what you want to do it, but it has to be done
pretty
in
quickly.
a reasonable amount of time, and that's up to the judgment of the chair.
Well, and he was asking the chair a couple of times. They were discussing the sun. It's even though there's no sun out.
So you're saying you wouldn't have given him the challenge had you been in the chair?
I don't think so.
And you're a terrible umpire. Maybe not as bad as some as we had when we were playing.
There's a reason I'm not in the chair.
I know your experience as a lines person wasn't working out.
Exactly.
That's the second one tonight.
That's too big. You could see it lining up right when he got this short forehand. He really exploded that racket head. A lot of speed on that forehand cross court, and then the easy volley. Those are the kind of volleys he can handle. Up above the net, he still takes too big a swing, but he hits such big approach shots that he gets a lot of those types of volleys. If you can get it down low, you've got a better than even chance of winning the point. Making that shot, then you can't beat him. That's the bottom line. That forehand down the line, it's either there for him or other days it's not. He'll keep going for it. I got to give him that. He's not afraid to keep trying to pull the trigger.
The first serve carries Hewitt back to deuce.
I thought it might have been long too. Safin called it out like in the juniors, challenging. And he was wrong.
So Safin down to just the one challenge remaining. Hewitt still has two. Hewitt wins the seventh game, even on serve in the opening set. Some of the young tennis fans on hand for perhaps our greatest matchup this week. Hewitt taking on Safin. And I think you can guess where their hearts are. The green and gold and painted on their face. They're wearing their heart on their face, I guess you could say. Geico match comparison. Safin, I guess you could say he's trying to make things happen.
Well, he's the one that's dictating one way or the other. And as I don't know if I said it, but I've always thought it's up to him this match. Whoever wins this match, if he's on, there's not a lot Hewitt can do. But if Hewitt can make him hit enough balls to elicit some unforced errors, that's his best chance of winning. Take a look at how just all these numbers on first serve right here. Really mixing it up. The only court, the deuce court, he's going a little bit more often, obviously, to the backhand side. Oh. The only thing that I would say he's missing is the body serve. Why not try a few at the body instead of always going for aces? There's a drop volley. They really should have been a lost point for Safin as Hewitt was there in time.
Well, that may have been the quickest game of the evening. Carries Safin to 4-all. This is the Darling Tennis Center, Summerlin, Nevada, part of Las Vegas. Panasonic presents Tennis Channel Open. The last singles semifinals between Marat Safin and Leighton Hewitt. I'm Leif Shiras alongside former U.S. Davis Cupper Jimmy Arias. We are at 4 games all. Anytime you're behind in the score and you can deliver an ace, it is so useful. Hey, this crowd is plugged into the match. I mean, they're getting pretty excited about net cords off the serve. Why is he missing those returns?
I have no idea. That's a sitter for him. He's a little bit off balance when he hit it. You don't normally see his upper body flinch backwards the way it did, but it's almost as if he doesn't expect Hewitt to hit any kick on the serve, and it's bouncing up higher than he's expecting. Hewitt does have a little bit of that slider to his serve a lot of times, slicing it.
Big two-hander. Wow.
I think it's a bad idea to change directions when you're hitting with Safin on a little short nothing ball that you give Safin when he wasn't really able to hit it with any authority down the line, and you can see the net cam. Safin coming right at you.
Well, Hewitt continues to protect his serve. 9 games played, and we have no breaks. So Bugsy Siegel, he opened the famous Flamingo Hotel in December of 1946, and that would eventually become the Las Vegas Strip, what you're looking at now. And it evolved into this, 4.5 miles of the most exciting gambling entertainment you could ever ask for in one place. And of course, the Mirage is at the heart of it. Safin serving in the 10th game. And as I understand it, that is our director's mom, Brad Toberman's mom. How's she doing down there? I hope she's enjoying the tennis. She's bundled up nice and warm.
Hewitt did such a great job keeping that point going, only to miss the sitter after all the hard work. It must be really tough to be a Murat Safin fan, because you just never know when he can self-destruct. All of a sudden, serving 4, 5, 15 all, and you're thinking, uh-oh, is he going to make 3 errors in a row and lose the set? Or is he going to step up to the line and hit a couple of bombs and hold serve easily? But it's always, you're on the edge of your seat a little bit, not sure what's going to happen next.
Well, neither man has really sustained that challenge against their opponent's serve. Hewitt's made some unforced in the rally. A little surprising. He's still trying to find his best tennis tonight.
No, that's the problem for Hewitt. He can't make those type of errors that he's made a couple of times, especially in this game at the big moments. He's got to make his opponent think you have to hit a winner to win the point.
That's a pretty finish for Safin.
Closing in nicely, and again, I think his swing is sort of big.
He's waiting. He's waiting.
But he executed nicely there.
We've traded breaks in the opening 2 games of the set. Since then, it's been holds of serve till 5 games all.
Good challenge, I think, from Hewitt.
Mr. Hewitt is challenging the ball on the right far sideline. The ball is called.
So all eyes look up at the big screen.
I was wrong, and so was Hewitt.
It's the first time he's been wrong in a while.
Yeah, he's usually right on.
Love 15.
I guess what happens first is Safin seems to stay just about even with winners. He's now 18 winners, 17 unforced errors. One of those numbers has to go up or down. And Safin will either win or lose this match based on which number goes up.
Yeah. And the first set is very important when these two square off. You've talked about their 11 meetings. 9 times the man who has won the opening set has won the match.
And the last time they played, it was a 6-1 win for Hewitt. Safin eventually winning in 4 sets. But as strange as that sounds, a 6-1 set sometimes, it's better to lose a set 6-1 than 7-6.
Yeah, in some ways. Although that must have been tough for Safin because that was at the Australian Open. I'm sure that Melbourne crowd was thoroughly behind Hewitt, thinking, geez, 2 sets from having an Aussie champ. I believe the last Australian champion was Mark Edmondson. Is that correct?
Right. Yes.
Yeah, 1976. And an improbable champion at that.
I think he was ranked 212.
Solid tennis from the Australian Leighton Hewitt. 6-5 in the opening set. Well, Marat Safin trying to serve his way into a tiebreaker in this opening set. Hewitt has done at least that by winning the last game, moving ahead 6-5. Darling Tennis Center, the last semifinal match. The winner will play Jürgen Melzer of Austria, the number 4 seed. Made a nice run through to the championship match.
Melzer admitted he's rooting for Marat Safin because he's beaten him a couple of times and he's struggled with Hewitt.
I think it is a little bit easier to play Marat in some ways. Yes, he can clock winners from anywhere on the court, but at least with Hewitt, you're in every point.
It's hard for me. I would rather play a guy like Hewitt where I'd have a feel as if I had a chance and some say in the match, in the outcome of the match, where at Safin I would be completely at his mercy.
Yeah,
I hate that feeling.
Tough to manage that when you're the one not in control.
Right now, even though Hewitt's not really in control, he is on the verge of winning this first set. Big point here. Well, as I was saying at 4-5, you never know when Safin's just going to crack a couple of unforced errors, and he's done it in this game, and he's given Hewitt a chance.
Look good.
Looked well into me. I don't know what Hewitt's thinking about.
1 set point saved. Hewitt has another here. And Hewitt has won the opening set. Well, quite a developing story here. Leighton Hewitt has taken the opening set. Can he hang on and win this semifinal? For Hewitt in this match, having won the opening set.
15-11.
As I mentioned earlier, the man who wins the opening set has a real good chance of winning the match. That's one of his favorite plays.
Yeah, he does that so well. Can take the pace off and disguise that two-handed topspin lob so well. I think when he first hit this, he thought that's going to be pretty good. But that light desert air, that ball carried just a little too far. Not a great challenge from Safin, I don't think. This is not a huge point. I think he's wasting it. Certainly, obviously, he felt as if it was in.
30-15. Mr. Safin has one challenger.
One challenge for Safin remaining in this set. Well, perhaps Safin is saying to himself, you know, I'm not winning from the back of the court. I'm going to try and see if I can win it up at the net a little more.
Well, I think the longer the rally, the worse for Safin. He doesn't seem to win this extended rally, so why not shorten him by coming into the net if you get the opportunity?
And Hewitt doesn't really give Safin the kind of pace he likes.
Saw Safin do that against Igor Kunitsin as well, but he caught it. See how off he is today?
Yeah. Struggling to make the catch. So here's a point for Hewitt to win that opening game. Nice counter by Hewitt. Used all that good pace that Safin was producing. All right, let's go down to Mika Buchan now. Mika, how are you?
Hi there. I'm standing here in the plaza with the Mirage Cup winning doubles team of Tatiana Pucek and Victoria Azarenka, who won 2 and 4 against Brianti and Arnie tonight. Congratulations, you guys. Tell me a little bit about the match.
Well, we started really good and won the first set quite fast, and then I guess just got relaxed a little bit, and in the second was a bit of a fight.
The full moon tonight was a good luck charm for you guys. Now I understand you actually had to meet each other now 28-17, so it's kind of like the wise head and the youth of the team, but you met in the third round of the singles, and I understand that actually age one out, the 28-year-old beat the 17-year-old. Were you guys very competitive out there?
Well, yeah, we played 3 sets, so it was a really tight match, but it was first time that we played, so it was like first match ever.
And I understand you've only played 3 tournaments and you've won all 3, so you guys are doing very well then.
Yeah, I guess. I just actually figured out that we played only 3 tournaments, but then we won all of them. And it's like 100% result, I guess.
Well, congratulations. And just a reminder, the singles final will be played 3 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Mika. That's kickoff coverage for us tomorrow. We'll have the women's final from the Mirage Cup. Bob and Mike Bryan will play in the championship doubles match following that. And then the singles final will be our third and final match of this week's coverage from Tennis Channel Open. Geico numbers from the opening set. And Safin, although he played well, he just didn't play consistently enough.
No, it's not bad stats. 20 winners, 22 unforced errors. It's not easy to hit 20 winners against Lleyton Hewitt. Lleyton Hewitt doing exactly what he should do against Safin, making him play, hit that extra ball. Not hitting a lot of winners, not making many unforced errors.
30-11.
One game all in the second set. Here are some numbers comparing these two careers. Jimmy, very similar in their achievement, although Hewitt longer at the top of the game.
Longer at the top, more titles, same number of Grand Slam singles, but he does have one doubles title. So Hewitt, if you look simply at the numbers, has definitely had the better career to this point. So the counterpuncher has outdone the big hitter.
Hewitt has won 2 Masters Series events. Safin has won 5 Masters Series events, including 3 in Paris. It's one of the few edges Safin might have in that matchup. Of course, the Masters Cup are the year-end ATP championships. Hewitt twice a champion there.
And that's a good title, obviously, to have, because you're beating the top 8 players in the world to win that Tennis Masters Cup at the end of the year.
Yeah, that is a great one. Let's listen to Safin here.
It's tough when you see Safin. The thing I love about most of the Russian players' games, and Safin included, is that they're so balanced. Their upper body stays still, their lower body is down low for a good base. And on that forehand, he was falling all over himself and still tried to hit it 100 miles an hour down the line. You got to realize when you're off balance, let's set my sights a little bit more towards the center of the court, please.
Maybe a little more spin, a little more control. And this is what Hewitt does too. You know, he just plays so much tennis and forces you to hit so many balls. And he doesn't really do a lot. He just hits the ball cross court, forces you to hit another ball, gradually wears you down. And as you said, Jimmy, at the right times, Hewitt is aggressive. You know, he's very sort of selective in when he uses power.
And he showed a nice combination earlier, a couple games ago, when he hit that little angle forehand, pulled Safin out of the court, was able to then hit it strongly enough down the line to win the point. He has some weapons to go along with the counterpunching, so could be the reason why he's been #1 in the world.
Deuce.
Hewitt hit more aces than Lopez the other evening. And Lopez is a big left-hander with a giant serve.
Yeah, I thought that ball was almost challengeable. I think it is good. Look at that, just catching. But because Safin wasted one, he couldn't take another chance.
This time Hewitt just putting the ball up the middle. Safin obliges by coughing up another error. Well, the Mirage Hotel, one of the great spots here on the Strip in Las Vegas. Well, the tennis fans here are bundled up against the cold.
Time.
Leighton Hewitt ahead in the opening set, and now 2-1 up in the second. We've had a great day of tennis today, throughout the week, and tomorrow we'll wrap things up with another exciting day, including women's singles tennis, men's doubles, and the championship match featuring one of these two players, Marat Safin or Leighton Hewitt, taking on Jürgen Melzer. Kick off our coverage at 3 o'clock Eastern. That's 12 Pacific.
Love 15.
Well, you get a sense this is suddenly a pivotal game for Marat Safin. A little bit dejected. The body language is not that great at the moment, and he's down a set. And he's just shanked a forehand to give a slight opening to Hewitt. That's a good way to get rid of that slight opening.
15.
Crank a 129 out wide.
That second serve.
The one thing I can say about Safin is it seems as though it would be nice if you could change the pace a little bit. You get almost grooved into that big hitting pace that he throws at you, and Hewitt can just stand 10 or 15 feet behind the baseline and absorb that power, hit it back to him until he hits himself out.
Another forehand error for Safin, and Hewitt now really in the driver's seat, 7-5 and 3-1. Icy hot injury report. Nicholas Kiefer, a former world number 4, he's been out for some time now with his wrist injury, and it's not sure when he's coming back.
No, he had a decent start to the year last year in 2006. He still finished the year, even though he hadn't played since June. Still finished in the top 50 in the world.
Yeah, that tells you the kind of talent he possesses. 6 career titles.
Well, Safin was down in one of his earlier matches. A set and a break, and then a break in the third set as well. An 87-mile-an-hour forehand down the line, and a racket change for Safin.
Safin down the break in the second set, and suddenly he scored first with the forehand, and then this bullet down the line with a two-hander.
So much pace on that two-hander without a lot of effort for Safin. Doesn't look like he's doing much, but the ball flies off his racket.
We need to get a Russian translator in this booth to find out exactly what he's saying. And we're hoping to be joined shortly by just that kind of young man.
Net for serve.
Well, the 19-year-old Russian who had such a great week here. Evgeny Korolev is going to join us in the booth as soon as this game is completed.
And what an important game this happens to be for Marat Safin. He was looking a little dejected, switched rackets, hit 2 clean winners. If you can still find a way to hold serve here, it might be the end of Safin mentally.
Hewitt doesn't have the great pace on his serve, but he does have plenty of variety. First down the tee, then out wide. Best two-hander in the game, Jimmy?
Well, there's a lot of great two-handers, but it's maybe the most powerfully struck two-hander in the game.
Saw a couple two-handers from Korolev this week that have opened some eyes.
Advantage Hewitt.
One more.
'Leighton Hewitt has a pretty solid two-hander as well. Not the same kind of power, but he never seems to miss it. And that time, in a backhand-to-backhand rally, he lost the rally to Marat Safin.
Advantage Hewitt.
121 miles an hour on that first serve.
To this point in this game, Hewitt's served pretty well. A lot of first serves. Hasn't really given Safin an opportunity to take advantage of the second serve.
So Safin struggling to find his form, and Hewitt, he's ahead 4-1. Well, when we come back, Evgeny Korolev will join us in the booth. Stay with us here on Tennis Channel. Welcome back to the Tennis Channel. I'm Leif Shiras. This guy's Jimmy Arias, but more importantly, this is Evgeny Korolev, talented 19-year-old Russian. You had a great week this week, and it was, I think everyone was happy to see you get through the round robin and play so well here.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I had a terrific week here, even though I lost today 7-6 in the third, but still I had a great week. It was a lot of fun, and you know, I did some points, and I really enjoyed my time being here.
Your first career semifinal. Let's look at some of these pictures of your play today. What did this feel like? You must have had a great feeling to win important matches and play so well.
Definitely. Well, actually, I'm looking like this first time.
Oh, really?
Is this the first time you've ever seen yourself play?
Yeah, like this, yeah. It was really, really cool, yeah.
Well, we unfortunately can't show you any more of it because we're going to show you the match going on right now.
Definitely.
I think a friend of yours, Marat Safin.
Yeah, I know Mart for a while, and he's a really great guy, and as in tennis, as in sports, as a personal, and he's a really good guy. And what happens now is a little bit too tough for him. That Leighton doesn't miss a shot here.
You think he can get it back together mentally, knowing Marat, or do you think it's tough for him at this point?
Well, everything can happen, but right now I think it's too tough because Leighton is playing really great tennis now, and not missing a ball, and Mart is sometimes going too fast for the point, and he doesn't really have waiting. It's the same thing as I do sometimes. I'm waiting for the point, and then I just go for it. And sometimes it flies over the fence. And
was working a lot for you this week.
Well, definitely, yeah, but it's tough. It's pretty tough to play now for Mart. That was a great shot. It was a great shot, but he could also miss this one.
Yeah. Well, watching so many of the Russians play, from Kafelnikov to yourself to Safin, all of you seem to have, except for Yuzny, great two-handed backhands. Why do so many Russians have great two-handers?
I don't know. I think maybe we have a good school, the backhand. I don't know. I didn't really learn backhand, to be honest with you. It's like everybody was saying it's pretty much nature, but I don't know. I was injured for the last 3 weeks. Then I started to practice. I was practicing on the slice, and I just came here to the tournament, practice once with a two-handed backhand, and I just started to play. And I was feeling really good.
That's great. Yeah, you hit so many winners off the two-hander. Of course, Safin has one of the best two-handers in the game, I think.
Yeah. I think he's the most. He's the player who hits the ball really hard. I think he's pretty much the hardest guy on tour now.
Well, that's something I also noticed about you that you just saw from Marat Safin, and that sometimes it seems as though you could hit a winner at 90 miles an hour. The guy's a little bit off the court, and you still hit it 120 miles an hour instead of tempering it a little bit, bringing it down. Do you think that's the next stage for you, to know when to?
Yeah, I guess definitely, because it's better when I play sometimes, a couple more balls in the court and then go to the open corner, slow down a little bit. It doesn't have to be really, really hard. Like, we see that also in the match I played today. I was going too quick for the winner, just too quick for the winner. And I think that's a mistake.
Yeah, well, Safin trying to press a little bit there in that last exchange. And again, Hewitt's been like a backboard today.
Hewitt is playing, I would say, really good. Fighting for a point, doesn't give anything away, and Mart is feeling the pressure, and because he tried to fight the first set, and he had a little bit unluck on his service game on 6-5 because I don't 5-6 because he had a couple net points. He hit a couple balls in the net, he touched the net, they flew out because the net is pretty hard here. I would say.
It is, isn't it?
It is, because everybody who's serving, let, it just flies crazy. So. But he's just going for it now.
Well, he needs to come up with a break here.
It's going to be really, really tough though. Against Leighton. Pretty tough. It seems like it's not a really Russian day today. I mean, not in tennis.
You served for it, and
I served twice for the match today.
Anything you can think back on that you could have done differently?
I guess yes, a couple points for sure. I mean, I missed a couple balls. I just went too quick. In my service game, I just was rushing the ball and rushing. Had to play a couple balls more in the court and see what's happening. But I couldn't say it would be a little differently, but I could have tried. It was a tough match though today.
So Hewitt a point closer, and you mentioned the bad day for Russians, I suppose so. Of course, you lost to Melzer. Hewitt is dealing with Safin, and Federer took out Yuzny in Doha today.
Yeah, but you see the points from Marat. It was a second serve to the forehand. An easy mistake. What he normally does not do.
So Hewitt a couple points away now.
Yeah.
You know, this a big win for Hewitt in so many ways. Started off the year in rough fashion, breaking up with his coach. Struggled with the Australian Open. Did not have a good tournament in Adelaide. Injured in Rotterdam, and here he is now, just a point away from the championship match in Vegas. So Leighton Hewitt.
Good fight. Good fight, Leighton.
Yeah, 7-5 and 6-1. I think you said it, Evgeny. A good fight by Hewitt.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, that first set, as we mentioned, very critical whenever these two guys play.
Well, I think Leighton Hewitt loves this light air in the desert. He seems to be able to hit the ball in, even though the ball flies a little bit. He still doesn't make unforced errors, and it's tough for you big hitters to hit a winner. If you get too close to the lines, it seems to fly just out, and I think that happened a little bit today to Marat.
Yeah, it is, you know, because we're going hard for the winner. I mean, we're talking about Marat now. He's going for the winner, and if he's a little bit late or a little bit, he's not hitting the ball, clearly it flies. It just flies here.
Yeah, your timing has to be so exact, and
yeah,
it just seems like Hewitt can absorb so much pressure and make you play another ball.
Well, it seems like Hewitt had really a lot of control in this game, you know, and all the points.
Yeah. Well, Evgeny, thanks for coming by. Really happy to see you play so well this week. Sad to see your countrymen go down as well, but best of luck to you.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
All right. Evgeny Korolev has been in the booth to sit with us, and a real pleasure to see Hewitt play so well. Safin, no doubt disappointed, but he had a good week here. Reached the semifinals and lost to one of the best players in the world, Leighton Hewitt. We'll have a chance to hear from the Aussie #1 when we come back. Hewitt wins it 7-5 and 6-1. It's a good day for Australia and Leighton Hewitt. Leighton Hewitt is in fine form again in Las Vegas. Remember, he was in the finals last year, and this year he is again in the championship match. He's with Wayne Bryan. Wayne?
Well, Leighton, what a great matchup tonight. Both former #1 players, both Grand Slam champions. He was leading 6-5, now it's 6-all. Were you aware of how close your rivalry's been through the years?
Yeah, you know, I've had a lot of long battles with Marat in big tournaments and at the closing stages of tournaments as well. And yeah, he's just a great player. He's a great bloke on and off the court as well, and he's a great personality. So I always enjoy playing him, and I think my game has to always rise every time I play against Marat.
Well, you played awfully well. Now, you got to feel good about reaching your second straight Las Vegas final.
Yeah, it's great. You know, I was coming here, obviously, hoping to go one better, and so far so good. I've won my first 4 matches, and given myself an opportunity to try and hold up the trophy tomorrow.
You get a lot of support here. Do you feel like you're playing in Adelaide?
Yeah, nearly. Yeah, it's been fantastic. I've had there's a little group over there that have been going nuts for me all week. So it's been worth it coming back here and playing. And I think the tournament's done a wonderful job, and they've just improved on last year as well.
Well, you play Jürgen Melzer, the left-hander from Austria, the 4th seed. Your thoughts about playing him?
Yeah, it's going to be a totally different match to playing tonight. It's probably more so like my last match against Lopez, a left-hander that can mix it up well. He's an underrated player, I think. He's tough on all surfaces, and I expect a tough match again tomorrow.
You enjoying your stay at the Mirage?
It's fantastic. We get treated like kings over there, so it's great.
Well, congratulations, Leighton. You're playing awfully well. Through to the final. Back to you guys up in the booth, Leaf. Leighton Hewitt to the finals, everybody.
Thanks, Wayne. Boy, this has to be such a good feeling for Hewitt to come back to Vegas and give himself another chance to win a title he just missed out on last year.
Well, it's been a while for him to be playing long and hard in tournaments. He hadn't even made it past the quarterfinal this year so far, and so it's great for Leighton Hewitt to be back in a final. He's playing very well. These are his conditions. He lost in the finals last year. He wants to do one better, and he's playing a guy that he's never lost to, so you got to like his chances.